I want to bring a radical thought up real quick. Rival changed drastically when Wlfy shaved his head.
That could be it. I think after every single land, he just loses more and more hair.
That's what it was. We saw the hair get shorter and shorter, and the games get shorter and shorter. 20 minutes for game number 1, heading into game number 2. Picks and bans, SpaceStation Gaming versus Team Rival. Game 2, P's and B's, pretty please. SpaceStation Gaming on the left with the first selection.
I was looking at that fire giant face. I got spooked out a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, but heading into picks and bans, SpaceStation really needs to figure out a game plan here. They cannot allow Rival to consistently invade the speed buffs.
Now, is there a ban that you want to see out of SpaceStation against Rival here specifically? Was there something that scared you? Because for me, it wasn't a pick. It was just the gameplay that was just out of this world.
I think, so you're looking at the aggressive nature of both iceicebaby and Wlfy playing both the Ravana and Erlang respectively, but I think the early game aggressive invades was more of a factor between Callus and on the Athena and Wlfy playing the Rod that made those rotations so easy to confirm these invades.
Do you ban an Athena here?
I don't necessarily think so, honestly. I think that they just have to be able to make the changes, try to get the wards and the vision, catch somebody out of position, and then go for the kills instead of for your own buffs, potentially.
You know, when it comes down to it, Toli, here at LAN, not because of an atmosphere, but because it's the top of the top, the best of the best, the cream of the crop, I don't mind banning things like Athena that aren't necessarily, you know, to the tier list. When you're playing against players like this and you're this talented yourself, the tier list matters less and less, and it becomes how you pilot these characters. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing an Athena ban here.
We could potentially see it. We'll see how SpaceStation has made the necessary adjustments of how they deliberated how they need to approach this game 2 of picks and bans, and with all of their collective thoughts in mind. So far, they went the same route, banning away those stars from Deathwalker. Last game, they banned the Bellona in this position. I wouldn't be surprised if they do it again, but apparently they're afraid of Kurnanos.
Yeah, apparently.
From Vote.
Vetium feeling fine here, blowing kisses towards the camera. We'll see if he's able to feel that fine in-game against Kurnanos. Maybe that makes him a little bit more comfortable.
It could maybe allow him more flexibility to be aggressive in that dual lane. We could see SpaceStation completely give up the solo side jungle and focus all of their efforts in the dual lane, trying to get Vetium ahead of Vote early on and start carrying that mid game and get some of these early gold furies.
Rival banning out the Nemesis and Soul one more time. SpaceStation Gaming have the option to choose fineokay on the screen, Bellona on the screen. Likely those two will be paired together.
Rival were definitely expecting this with a Soul and Nemesis ban, giving up the Bellona, but knowing Deathwalker, he's been playing some Guardians here and there, and that's a great survival tool against the Bellona. Now, Bellona doesn't necessarily lose any matchup, so that's why you pick her first. You're really trying to dictate that solo lane matchup.
I would love to see Deathwalker dig deep and pick out an Athena solo here. That'd be fantastic. It's a nice matchup against the Bellona, cancels out the bludgeon. How you feel, Toli?
I mean, it's one matchup you can go for. He's been known to play the Kabrakan more than the Athena, at least in that solo lane. So if there's ever a Guardian that he will select, I'm expecting the Kabrakan.
When it comes to Deathwalker, I just gotta go. Think of the wildest thing you can think of in the solo lane, and then apply it, and maybe you're close.
Yeah, Arachne.
Hey man, she's out of her mind strong.
You never really know the direction of Rival.
So just so y'all know, with our picks and bans here, we're only showing you the lock-ins. Deathwalker did hover his powerful Opwash solo in game number 1. Didn't actually commit to it. I don't think it was the matchup, but I wouldn't be surprised if later on we do get a glimpse at the alien guy himself.
Hey man, Opwash solo lane is very annoying to play against as a warrior, especially once you finish off that Breastplate of Valor. You cannot kill an Opwash. He's gonna spam his third ability on the ground, slow you, and pick up the corpse for more health.
So I mean, a little bit of fun fact here, we actually did see his Opwash solo in a competitive match. The team ultimately lost the game, but anecdotally, if you go watch the VOD, for my money, he played fantastically.
I don't think he died, did he, that game?
Maybe once or twice, but he absolutely did his job. Ravana and Terra, the selections for SpaceStation Gaming. Very, very standard choices here, but very, very tanky choices as well. And with Rival themselves banning out that Nemesis, kind of biting them in the butt.
Sarkett, though, is still available to maybe take out some of these tanky targets. Now, this could be an option that Rival go for. However, iceicebaby has been known to play some of these mobile gods. We could see a Susanoo pick here, maybe even Thor, depending how spicy iceicebaby's feeling.
iceicebaby generally stays a little bit less spicy, a little more mild. I think Deathwalker's a spicy guy. And frankly, I don't want to see iceicebaby's Thor. Give him the Circuit, I'm down. His Thor has not been the character I want to see him on. Fafnir and Ram, one of the more standard selections for Team Rival. One more choice before we head to ban round number 2. And again, it's Wlfy on the laser chicken.
It didn't really fail for them the first game. Why not continue the action in game number 2? And having this Ram and Fafnir in the dual lane is a lot of objective damage, a lot of attack speed. And you're looking at Raw having a lot of burst. We're good to see some early goal fears out of Rival. This is a team that's been known to go for those plays.
Rival right now, they're poking andinster. All right, we're gonna pick the Ra. Now we ban the Scylla. I don't think they're gonna ban the Agni, which is another god that Andy has proven to be very strong on. But we'll take a look. SpaceStation Gaming, as Ravana has been selected for likely Homiefe's hands. We won't see the Camazotz available for iceicebaby. It will be the Thoth ban. So like I said, I think we're gonna see an Agni at a SpaceStation Gaming, unless they have something else up the sleeve of andinster.
I love the idea of banning the Scylla because that's something that andinster has been playing so consistently, and it's definitely a big threat, especially in that late game. However, the Thoth, not something that he's been playing normally. However, he has a lot of range, and that's something you take away from andinster. Now he's gonna have to get a little bit closer into the action, especially if he goes for this Agni.
The way that Andy plays the Ra is easily transposable to the Thoth. Ra's thought of as a healer. Andy doesn't really do that. He just kind of boom, all game. What does Thoth do? Boom, all game. So I think that's the mentality at least. But the Arlong Shen banned out by SpaceStation Gaming, leaving Rival to go ahead, select the Sobek for Deathwalker.
That Guardian Soling, this has been the standard Season 2 matchup. Bellona versus Sobek. You cancel out the bludgeon and you're chilling, basically. What you're relying on is your ultimate to get you back some of the mana. And now in Season 4 with Chalices, if you're expecting to lose your blue buff, you could go for this option just to stay in the laning phase a little bit longer.
It really pays to do your Smite history homework there. Got to keep figuring out where these picks and bans come from. It's going to be the Hades for andinster.
Oh, wow.
One of my favorite selections, in all honesty. Andy knows how to play this character. Hyper aggressive. And Apollo will be in the hands of Vetium. Apollo's a polarizing dude. People keep saying, sit down, Emilzy. People keep saying that, you know, Apollo out of the meta, not really there. When it comes down to it, man, Apollo will always be able to split push to victory.
That's the whole goal that you're really looking for. If Vetium can control that dual lane against Ram, then let him stay in that lane and out-rotate his opposition, making the big plays happen in these team fights. I actually totally forgot that andinster has a Hades, bringing it back into the mix there for game number 2. I like the idea and mindset, but now if he dashes in, he's gonna get locked in this Odin cage.
Well, it's relatively recent. There was maybe 1 or 2 games that Andy brought the Hades out and he crushed. And then we saw it banned and never really saw it again because it's just a little bit too scary. I mean, look at him. He's got a skull. It's scary.
I mean, he's the lord of the underworld. What's scarier than that?
The gameplay is scarier than that. Hades comes on with his dash, hits you with the basic, and then bang. Not only is he hitting you for damage, but healing as well. Keep an eye out for this very first wave in the mid lane. Ravana finds the root. Hades dashes forward and hits him with the 3. Ouch. Plus he's healing. The wave is gone. That's pressure.
andinster is going to have to build very tanky to survive a lot of this burst damage from Ra onto Wlfy. The whole idea and mindset is whenever Hades goes into his Pillar of Agony, he's going to be a sitting duck, and all the burst damage is going to be dumped onto that target.
Now, one of the things that Hades doesn't have here on SpaceStation Gaming is somebody to really strip the beads away from the opposition. I think the easiest example is Hades paired with an Ares in the sense that somebody uses the beads and then, haha, you can't get out of my Pillar of Agony. This time around, Andy's really gonna have to be patient with that ultimate, ensuring that nobody on the side of Team Rival can actually get out of the nonsense that he's doing. But our game is underway. Team Rival are up 1-0 in our best of 3 series here in our summer finals. Well, this is just the beginning in our quarters.
And we're seeing Wlfy go for the same exact style build, trying to really rush this Book of Thoth, building the stacks. And andinster is expecting to take a lot of damage in the early game. Going for this Bracer is going to allow him to get a lot of this sustained back. But more importantly, we talked about how diverse the God pool from Deathwalker is and what he really brings to the table in some of his itemization choices. he elected to skip a starter item, getting the tier 2 silver breastplate gives him enough physical protections and MP5 without the mana chalice or the blue buff to stay in that lane.
That's the key there, Toli, is that as a Sobek, you're not really expecting to win the blue buff fight anytime soon, so he's got to go ahead and make sure he's able to sustain himself. iceicebaby and Wlfy lose the mid lane fight, but just barely. Homiefe and Andy are going to invade onto the speed buff. This is where hi-rez can shine if he does really well. There's a nice heal. Doesn't execute the speed buff. Not really looking for the big guy, just the little ones. A little bit of bonus experience and gold.
Already taking a lot of damage as Deathwalker on the Sobek, sitting at half health at this point in the laning phase is not a good look for him. This is why we're seeing more Bellonas than Sobeks or any Guardian, honestly, because of the levels 1 through 4 is just too devastating to deal with.
Yeah, it's a little bit rough for the Croc, but we'll see how it goes down. He does have the Odin on his side, so no lock the Croc this game.
No, not at all, but it's all about a power spike from Deathwalker. He was playing so aggressive on the Erlang Shen last game to go from such a hyper-aggressive mentality to a very slow and passive Guardian in the soul lane shows his true diversity.
I'm going to ask you a question straight up. Why did SpaceStation walk past the invade by iceice?
I don't really know.
The 2-on-1.
Honestly, they're looking to give up a buff so that they can get a wave under the tower. Deathwalker's going to take some damage from these minions. Some damage was dealt onto SpaceStation in the dueling, but they're not really too worried because they're Apollo and Terra.
Well, you know what? As Odin didn't get the blue buff anyway, so much ado about nothing, I suppose. Speed buff will be taken by SpaceStation, their own speed buff. And is iceicebaby invisible?
I don't know. I don't think they want to deal with this Odin.
Early game Odin?
There's just no time to really waste. It's more important to get the farm than trying to kill an Odin that's going to be able to either jump away, use his shield to absorb some of this damage anyway.
That's
and with
fair.
the pressure from Rival in the duel lane, they're looking to maybe collapse on this red buff.
iceicebaby leading the charge alongside Vote and Collis. There's a Wlfy around the bend. Andy and Jigz and Vetium trying to collapse. Big damage out of the Apollo on a Vote. He's forced out the easy way. Andy trying to find some basics, and there's iceice in a bad spot. Jumps away, followed up by Andy. There's follow-up from Jigz as well. Damage out of Wlfy. iceicebaby in trouble. It's just Homiefe, but deterred by the Ra. Well done. iceicebaby barely gets out of there.
The sprint from Callus, keeping his jungler alive to go north. Very fortunate for iceicebaby. He did have his speed buff to be able to get out of that one just barely in the nick of time.
Well, he's not invisible. I guess we've answered that question.
And andinster getting his red buff was so huge, making sure that he's still on the same pace as Wlfy. We're seeing a lot of sharing of experience now between Homiefe and andinster, and that's what you really need to do if you're on the side of SpaceStation. Collapse on the same target.
Andy's starting to build up his boots, so he'll be less of a sitting duck. hi-rez just feels so slow. Just kind of floating up the lane, so very important to get those booties online. And that's what I like about hi-rez. His ability to clear back Harpy so quickly. And then once he's level, not even level 9 where we see most of these gods do it, level 7, level 8, the wave just disappears.
And there's a lot of deceiving damage from a hi-rez in general. He sets up his detonate by applying the blights, whether it's with his passive in hands or whether it's from his dash, and already getting first blood and nowhere to go.
Homiefe winds up the victor there despite the ring. SpaceStation forced to hang out for a moment and reflect on their recent victory. You know what, iceicebaby, he kind of deserved that one. He tested fate way too many times. fineokay toss on the tower, no big deal.
SpaceStation are doing a great job bouncing back from that 20-minute loss in game number 1, and Rival has switched their style completely, going from such an aggressive composition to a purely passive one. They're basically relying on the late game. Fafnir, Wlfy's damage, and once Deathwalker hits that power spike of cooldown reduction, he's going to be able to make a huge impact in these team fights.
I wouldn't even say that the composition is passive. It's just that iceice, he got off some nice invades. Jigz might be in trouble though. Andy under the wall, hits the ultimate. Jigz still getting jumped on, but the damage has been done. iceicebaby answers back, gets his revenge, but fineokay out of the short side takes down Wlfy. It's a 1-for-1, but Team Rival finally on the board.
That's right, support for mid laner. Huge advantage for SpaceStation. Gonna allow andinster more farm potential. Not able to connect that detonate in time as iceicebaby was walking away with that speed buff, a lot of mobility on this Odin, and andinster is going to be putting himself in a great position by baiting out so many cooldowns now with that bracer.
Yeah, I like to play at Ice, but again, tempting fate. Walking into a wave of minions against Hades, you don't do that and walk away very often. So Ice gets out of jail that time. We'll see if his luck continues.
The red buff now respawning for SpaceStation. No potential invade from Rival. Seeing a level 7 Vetium, whereas Vote's chilling at level 8 currently. We haven't seen too much action in the duel lane, but look at this Mace option here from Vote. Really trying to get off some penetration in an early Gold Fury from Rival attempt.
I mean, this is what Fafnir is good for. Wlfy's here as well. The jump on top. Team Rival taking the Gold Fury. Nice and easy. That was just a textbook play.
We were talking about it in picks and bans, the pure objective control between the Fafnir's Coerce, especially with the burst damage from Wlfy. And if iceicebaby's there with the Odin for the heavy bird bomb combination, and that's just a plus.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you're looking for. Team Rival with that Gold Fury. Technically a lead, but they wound up just tying the game essentially before they were falling down behind little by little, especially after giving up first blood. So that Gold Fury brings them right back.
And that's basically the combination of the Guardian here, Sobek on Deathwalker, losing a lot of minions under his tower. So that's why we see a 400 gold separation between those two players, despite getting the Gold Fury, and obviously the first blood from SpaceStation, allowing them to get that early game lead, but they're not able to really stop Rival from getting that Gold Fury, unfortunately. So there's going to be more breathing room from Rival to extend the game, not allow SpaceStation to get it way too out of control, and get to the point that they want to control some of these team fights.
Collis over the wall, looking for a stun on it, Andy, and he gets it. There's the bird bomb as well. And the dash is good from Hades. Nice and safe under the tower, half HP.
Barely able to avoid that Celestial beam there. Not able to really commit with the ultimate there from Wlfy, not wanting to pull the trigger. Maybe if he hits the Celestial beam, he would go for the Searing Pain after the fact, but going for his own speed buff now. iceicebaby maybe could go on to Homiefe. He's very low.
fineokay committing because he knows Jigz is in the wings. Jump away is Collis. iceicebaby stunned out, no big deal. No follow-up, so he'll walk away.
Oh, doing a good job baiting out Vetium here around his own red buff. Neither of those hunters are getting the wave, so this is just a stalemate. It's going to favor out Vote in the long term because he's still more experienced anyway after the fact. Delaying this doesn't do Vetium any good or bad.
Not at all. I mean, he's Apollo. He's just looking to kind of hang out and then kill towers later.
As a hunter player, if you can't find the invade, you might as well just clear the wave and then get your own buff, and because he didn't do that, now he's not going to clear this next wave in time before iceicebaby and Vote make this rotation. So he's going to have to be chilling under his own tower, which isn't the worst thing in the world anyway, considering Gold Fury is down. Portal Demon is not going to respawn or spawn for the first time until another minute and 45 seconds. So Vetium looking to back to base here. I'm really curious the direction that Vote's going to go with that Mace.
Yeah, me too. You know, when it comes down to it, Ram is the opposite of an ability-based hunter, so I don't think we're going to see a Jotun's Wrath anytime soon, you know, and maybe a Beat Stick I think would be the most logical, but a lot of question. Crusher, I think really Crusher. You get attack speed on it, that's where I would think, if not just building it for a Titan's Bane later on, but usually when you see these ability-based hunters, you go, okay, it's looking for some CDR, but not the case with Ram. Very curious to see.
Not at all, and I highly doubt it's going to be that early Titan's Bane either way. SpaceStation starting up the Oracles. Nice little ring from iceicebaby. Going to force out that early Phantom from Jigz, though. fineokay taking a lot of damage in that soul lane. Deathwalker is very healthy, and this is the power spike from the Sobek. Cooldown reduction boots is finished. Breastplate of Valor as well. You're looking at 30% CDR with those two items, and that's going to allow him to just spam away every single ability. And if fineokay overextends a little bit, can find himself plucked under that tier 1 tower.
And don't forget, the Sickening Strike going to heal up Deathwalker. The ultimate going to heal his mana pool. And not for nothing, the Sickening Strike kind of lowering the little bit of healing that you're going to get out of your Death Toll procs anyway. So Team Rival kind of really leveraging on that Sobek on the right side of the map.
But looking at fineokay's itemization, he's opted to go for this Hide of the Urchin, really expecting for a lot of these team fights to occur and thinking that he's going to get the better end of that one. A little bit of a boxing exchange, but Deathwalker is just buying time, trying to wait for the right timing to pluck maybe under the tower.
Andy, again, getting stunned by Collis. Jigz shows up here. Nice little heal out of the Hades player. Nice little heal out of the Ra player as well. Looking for a little bit of help. interrupt onto the bludgeon coming out from the Sobek, but eyes back onto the mid lane looking for the 3v3. Collins gets rooted, returns in stun, and walks away.
Nice timing for the stun from Callus, because after the root was going to come the hands from the Rama and Vetium, doing a lot of damage there onto Vote. But it seems that Vote is not scared, despite Vetium is the one with the red buff.
There's going to be a tussle on the right side of the map, however. Andy blocked out from the rest of the squad by Ice and Collins. Wlfy with a nice location of the heal, preventing Andy from really walking back into the jungle. Big damage on Ice, but the shield is going to be one better, dashing away his andinster.
Very smart not to jump into that to get the bird bomb damage and lock in andinster, because that was going to be one dead iceicebaby if he jumps in. He didn't have his shield after the fact. He would take a lot of damage from that Pillar of Agony, and any damage you do onto andinster right now is going to be negated by that bracer.
Team Rival here, 11 minutes in, tied up with SpaceStation Gaming. They lead the series 1-0. Don't forget, this is the best of 3, folks. So Team Rival just need one more game. However, SpaceStation certainly could stretch it. We saw the most, one of the more unlikely stretches earlier with Energy bringing it to a game 3 and then ultimately winning.
SpaceStation have all backed here. Even fineokay is backing under that tier 1 tower. This could be potentially a Gold Fury call from Rival. It has respawned.
There it is. There it is.
We saw them do it earlier on. It's going to get very low very quickly.
Yeah, it's a scary time to back for SpaceStation Gaming. Team Rival going to take full advantage of it. Ice locks down the cage. Fafnir's there, secured with the Ra. Pretty as a pon-pon. That's a textbook play.
And Vetium getting sniped at just the tip, just for good measure. He's definitely feeling that one.
That's exactly what you do. One player zones, like usually the Odin. You use a mage ult to secure it. Fafnir does it. I mean, what else do you want?
You're going to need Jigz to use the Phantom offensively just to get in position to possibly steal that Gold Fury, and then you're not looking for that cooldown for quite a while.
Homiefe and Jigz looking for the push forward, but can't find it. You know, when you first mentioned that, you had this face on. You said, oh no, SpaceStation back.
I saw
trouble. And that's one of the things that we get as spectators. We can see the whole map. We can see that they backed. And I said, totally, Rival doesn't have that info. But as soon as they walked forward, the wards has faded, but there was a square here. One ward still remains on the bottom left side of the Gold Fury. There was one by the red buff as well, and then 2 on the safe sides for Team Rival. And because of those 4 wards, Team Rival walked forward, and nobody's here. And they had all the information that we did and cleaned up the gold.
And they also saw fineokay back under that tier 1 solo lane without his teleport available. So it was a very clean call from Rival, and they had all the tools at their disposal. And what's more impressive to me from Rival is the fact that they went from PvPing in game 1 to straight PvE action. Getting these objectives has given them a pretty comfortable lead. It's not the same compared to the last game, because at about 13 minute mark last game, they had maybe 7,000 to 8,000 gold lead. But this time, they're just slowly building it up. They're not expected to have any sort of a lead at this point in the game with their late game composition.
That's what I like about Team Rival, honestly, totally. This team's a pleasure to watch because they have multiple different approaches to the game. They can do the all-out brawl-out, or they can just slow it down a little bit and slowly bleed you dead. And that's what we're seeing here in game number 2. Team Rival, the Butchery, looking for the right side objective this time around. In the portal, Demon, Jigz shows up, goes for the clap, but not good enough. Wlfy one more time, takes out the objective, but the team fight might be SpaceStation.
iceicebaby's trying to run away with that sprint, diving into the backline as Vetium committing so much. The shield is buying him a little bit of time. Speed buff is not going to be enough if Homiefe could just find one shot.
That's going to be trouble. There's the hands. Homie gets Ice. Mid lane, different story. Down from the sky comes Vote after dealing the damage at 5-on-4. Team Rival still being forced to fight into it. fineokay hits him with the bludgeon, and down goes Wlfy. And that might be all Team Rival will suffer here. SpaceStation with a fantastic response to Team Rival's attention to the objective. 2 for none. And there it is. There's the Crusher going on the side of Vote. NBK not good enough to win this team fight. 4-1 in total are the kills.
The question is, what's next for SpaceStation Gaming? They got 2 kills, not dying at all. They don't go for the tier 1 tower. They lost Gold Fury and Portal Demon. They're resorting into getting this red buff invade instead. It's not the biggest lead in the world for them. It's actually fineokay that might be in a little bit of trouble here.
He gets jumped on, but nice play by Andy, ensuring he gets not only the fear, but the ultimate as well. Dashing forward, looking for the kill. The shield is good on Ice. Praise be to the Ravens. Team Rival walk away.
fineokay is going to have to back under that tier 1 tower. He doesn't have teleport available. However, there's no solo lane action of pushing that wave under the tower, denying that golden experience. Instead, liking to go for their own blue buff here. Team Rival are playing very methodical about every single step they take.
Yeah, I mean, again, I mentioned it before, but I got to bring it up again. Just complete opposite play styles. Not even a little bit similar, just fast and loose and hot and not hot to trot in game number 1, and then game 2.
They're just chilling. They are just relaxing. That 20-minute game of victory for Rival, they're not letting it get overwhelming out of control in their mindset. They're going to slow it down themselves. Normally, it's the losing team that tries to slow things down, but instead, Rival are going to play into SpaceStation's game. They've been able to slowly build the lead with their late game composition, and now they're sitting pretty.
I mean, it's still a very close game. Just 1,000 gold separates our two teams here. SpaceStation versus Rival, but the momentum, I think, that intangible is kind of in Team Rival's favor for sure.
Looking really good now in the solo lane, as it's Deathwalker that's being very aggressive, but we're looking at the charts here. Despite Rival getting a slight gold lead, there's more experience on the side of SpaceStation. Looking at the 2-level deficit between the junglers, we saw iceicebaby actually have a very comfortable lead, but honestly, as an Odin jungler, it's not that big of a deal. You're looking just to be an ult bot anyway. Yeah,
I mean, early game, you're gonna jump on folks, and then you just drop a ring all day. fineokay actually having trouble with the croc here. Plucked out of his bludgeon, but it will give him the weapon. And he's stunned out as he tries to make his way back into the mid lane. And here's help for the croc. fineokay in trouble. Thorns is activated. The up down will get the stun, but the ring is strong. iceicebaby likely to put him down, and he does. fineokay becomes kill number 2 for the Europeans.
iceicebaby liked it, and he definitely put a ring on it, but he's given up this gold here a little bit. However, it's Vote and Callus forcing the reset. SpaceStation can't respond with the death in the solo lane. They need to be able to get something with that heavy commitment. It took a decent amount of time to kill that solo laner.
Well, pings coming out on the left side of the map. You see Terra and Vetium making their way across, not looking for the gold tree, but walking directly over the ward, so Rival knows that they're coming. Wlfy, however, might be in trouble. He's going to get collapsed on the backside, while Rival tries to deal damage to Andy, finds the absolute exit underneath the tower.
Vetium's in the sky, forced to use that ultimate. If that Celestial Beam hits andinster, we're going to see probably more of a commitment under that tier 1 tower from Rival trying to find that kill. But either way, forcing him out of the action is a great play for Rival. Without that aggressive mage damage on the side of SpaceStation, there's just so much control that Rival can expend.
18 minutes on the clock here. SpaceStation doubling the kills of their European opponents. Team Rival, however, do have the very slight gold lead, about 1,500, give or take. 1,897, my mistake. But here left side, we're looking at the Oracles, and those will easily go to the North Americans.
iceicebaby jumps in. Pillar of Agony is not enough. He's barely able to walk away from that vortex in time.
Movement speed coming in clutch for iceicebaby. Obviously not getting the extra from the Talari boots being in combat, but just fast enough to get out of Hades.
That 5% movement speed from that swift wing is all he needed to walk away from that one. And as a jungler that has this item, you're really looking to make some of these rotations out of base. Rival now are trying to get that sentry ward, and Callus is able to do so. Could look for another objective if some members back from SpaceStation now.
Oh, split push Sobek. There it is, tier 1
tower.
Tier 1 tower goes the way of Team Rival. 500 gold.
I can't even remember the last time a Guardian outpushes any warrior in the solo lane.
Let alone a Ravana.
Whether it's a Ravana or a Bellona here for fineokay, just no possible way to respond with that 500 gold now. His tower is sitting pretty healthy now, heading into the 20-minute mark. SpaceStation are still doing a good job keeping this game relatively even, and now they're going to continue moving forward.
Team Rival now, as we said, 500 gold for that early Sobek tower, 2,200 gold in the lead. And we keep talking about it, the slow and steady bleed, just one by one by one. The objectives going down, whether they be big or small, the end result is the same. A little bit of a gold lead for the Europeans, looking to close this one out in just 2 games.
SpaceStation has definitely made a lot of progress between game 1 and game 2, because in about 10 seconds in the last game, they already surrendered.
Yeah.
And Rival had about a, what, 11, 12,000 goal lead. This time SpaceStation is keeping it relatively close. They just need to find the right target, but Rival is not giving them any sort of target to go for. The wards, despite them having it around the Fire Giant side, who are they gonna go on from Rival?
Yeah, I mean, Wlfy is probably the best target, but he's got so much help. Deathwalker, iceicebaby, and Collis all going to provide a tremendous amount of control, but Collis is the one that's going to provide a tremendous amount of objective secure out of those groups. Gold Fury getting low, looking for the fight. There's Rama to the backside. Ultimate out of Wlfy secures the Gold Fury, and the fight afterwards continuing on. Vetium in trouble on the front side. Homiefe forcing Ra out on the top. Now Homiefe's in trouble. Up, down, the Aegis saves the life of the jungler. Different story as fineokay gets involved. Folk gets the kill.
Vetium in the sky, lurking around, circling around his targets. First victim is going to be Homiefe of this long exchange. Deathwalker very low.
Saved.
Trying to get retreated by iceicebaby, taking out andinster.
Collis saves the life of his solo lane, Sobek, and not done yet. fineokay in the middle, tossed back into the crowd. Thorns is done, so is fineokay. Deathwalker gets a kill. That's one for him as well. Vetium forced out by the Odin. The yawn, not good enough. iceicebaby might have pushed up a little bit too far, Tolly, but that tier 1 tower belongs to Rival.
This is the objective control from Rival and the teamfight control showing in full effect. Not only did they secure that objective, but they were able to peel back under their own tier 2 tower, rely on Wlfy sustain for a little bit longer, and really turn the teamfight in their favor, finding 2 kills now. I think it was actually 3, as they now are going for this tier 2.
Yeah, fineokay, Homiefe, and Andy all go to the wayside. Not just the tier 1 tower, but the tier 2 as well. 2,000 gold in total just from those objectives, all resulting in 7,500 gold lead for the European squad. 5-4. The kills might be similar, but the gold anything but. Fantastic performance out of the Europeans.
And this is where teamfights are going to start stacking up even more for Rival. They're not done yet. Whenever you win a teamfight that convincingly with an objective control, you're looking to start to group up once you get a little bit healthy. And SpaceStation, they want to make sure that Rival don't get another objective.
Yeah, Portal Demon after you lose the teamfight's kind of the go-to, but the problem is, here comes Odin. The ring broken by Portal Demon. That's the interaction of the neutral camps when it comes down to the Odin ring. Jigz pops his ultimate, looking for the fight. SpaceStation Gaming getting aggressive for the first time all game, and it pays off. fineokay taking out Wlfy.
Not having the defensive relics. Nice route from Jigz, trying to
Big
dive that back
damage.
line. No option here for Rival. Homiefe barely able to die there. Deathwalker caught in a lot of trouble as well, but Volt gets taken out in that Pillar of Agony.
Double kill for Collis. He's a support, but we're getting used to seeing him as aggressive as possible. Andy trying to run away. The flip up and the stomp down. iceicebaby gets another kill while he gets his Doc Martens dirty. 4 players dead in SpaceStation jerseys, and Rival looking for anything they can find. Look to play it for the tier 1 tower.
It looked so good in the beginning for SpaceStation. They forced out iceicebaby to jump behind that Fire Giant. They killed Wlfy right off the bat. And whenever you kill a Ra mid, now there's not many sustain options here with that Rod of Asclepius finished. So Rival, without their mid-mage, still win a team fight, losing only 2 members, securing 4 of their own.
This is so much fun to watch. We look at the net worth out of the guys on Team Rival. Everybody about even. Everybody's doing the same amount of work. You're not seeing somebody with a zillion kills. You're not seeing that sort of thing. When we look at the player damage, this 19,000 out of the Sobek, that was the last team fight. The lurking in the waters hit 3 players, virtually killed them all.
It's all about that cooldown reduction
Yeah.
and the fake damage that you get in that solo lane. Once you get that cooldown reduction, 30% on just breastplate and shoes of focus allows the Sobek to be the bully, essentially.
Yeah.
He was level 1, while fineokay was level 3 at one point in the game. And now it's just a completely different story. He was the one that hit level 20 before the Bellona.
Well, I mean, like you said, that's kind of what you're expecting when you pick the Guardian in that solo lane. Trouble for Wlfy as SpaceStation gets aggressive one more time, and he brings him in. Vetium pushes him out. Wlfy falls for the 4th time. He's kind of been the sacrificial lamb this team.
But it doesn't matter because getting locked in the cage, Vetium dies. Rival responding with a kill of their own. They don't really have to worry about that 100 damage now, and they could still continue the pressure.
Wlfy is not going to respond for another 40 seconds, but with Vetium's global ultimate, he could still get there in the nick of time to defend that one.
Listen, Tolly, normally I say I like these aggressive plays. Normally I like it when the team down a lot kind of goes for it. I didn't like that one. I really didn't like that one. I mean, Andy and Vetium just kind of jump into it. I think they could have made a smarter play than forcing that tier 1 tower, and they pay for it.
I think that it was a good play in the long term. iceicebaby, though, is getting focused, but he's going to be the sacrificial lamb because the rest of his team is trying to go for this fire giant on the right, and they secure that one.
He ain't got to sacrifice nothing. He's not going to wind up in a kebab, walking away nice and clean. All 5 players get their fire giant. 10-7, read the kills. Team Rival up top by 10K in just 25 minutes.
And as I was talking about earlier on, when they overcommitted onto Wlfy, that's not a bad play because they're forcing out some of his defensive relics. They got the Aegis Amulet, so it's going to be a little easier now to dive that raw. His Purification Beads coming off of cooldown makes it a little bit trickier, though.
Yeah, but who cares? Wlfy's died 4 times, and everybody else is winning because of it. So you know what? If I'm Wlfy, yeah, maybe I'm mad that I'm not going to wind up in my own montage, but, well, we're going to wind up with the big W. And here at LAN, it's all about the team victory. Team Rival trying to make it on to tomorrow, where we'll see them possibly in the semifinals.
Fire giant play from Rival. They're starting to group up in some of these team fights, forcing out the sprint. Terra's blessing, though, is being used from Jigz, trying to catch Deathwalker. The cage, nice silence, preventing the block.
Beautiful play at the Space Station's mid lane, andinster on the Hades. Vote answers back, taking down fineokay. Vetium's in the sky, looking more to play defense than offensive.
Why is SpaceStation trying to aggress from such a sustained option team from Rival? They have the raw heal, they have Fire Giant. Sure, you can kill one, maybe, but are you going to continue the action and dive tier 2?
Well, SpaceStation, I think they're looking to disrupt that raw heal, right? After you go in, you initiate, and then, all right, let's sit back on the raw heal. If you keep getting pushed, you don't really have the luxury to just kind of hang out on a beach chair in your raw heal.
The problem is that whenever you're dealing with a raw heal, you need burst damage. A lot of this damage from SpaceStation is just sustained damage, especially in andinster, trying to get off a nice clutch pillar of agony. Doesn't really bring the oomph that you need in some of these team fights, and Rival are playing the slow and patient waiting game.
Well, the key is for Andy, if SpaceStation are able to kind of bring players down a peg, Andy can execute these guys from a quarter HP with just a 1-3 combo. You dash in, you hit them with the Shroud, and then bang, they can die. But that first bit of damage isn't really coming for SSG, and that's the problem. Team Rival leading by a ridiculous amount of gold here.
12,000 to be exact, because all the objectives went in the way of Team Rival. 4 Gold Furies and a Fire Giant. They couldn't even find the kill onto iceicebaby when he was being that sacrificial lamb, or what I thought was going to be a sacrificial lamb, but either way, getting another objective smallly in that tier 2 tower in mid, now transitioning into the right-hand side.
Just clean sweep. Team Rival looking to take everything off of the map. No safe space for SpaceStation here. Team Rival just looking so damn strong. This is the team that we've come to expect. What we saw online in the spring split, I don't know. I don't know what that was. But seeing them back at LAN, totally, it's fun to watch.
So I saw Dig and Toss play in the first set. They looked all right, you know, not too scary. I saw Energy play in the second set. The comeback potential was real. And the third game, Rival are looking monstrous here.
Right side pushed forward. Phoenix is the target. Target acquired. Phoenix goes down. fineokay in trouble. Up, down, onto the mid lane. But it's Andy that falls down. Ice takes out Fine. Vetium answers back, but the double kill goes Odin's way.
They got the right side. Phoenix, the Titan is exposed. If they find one more pick, this could be game. The pluck is good. Vetium goes down.
That's it, folks. Jigz, the lone defender on the Titan. We only need one Phoenix in order to take this one. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're a Rival fan, we'll see you tomorrow.
Great play from Rival going into the semifinals for day number 2 in DreamHack Valencia.
What a fantastic performance. 50 minutes total playtime for the set. That was one game that we saw last time.
Rival are on a next level. 4th seed in Europe on online, looking like one of the strongest teams already in this land.
And I love the personality out of these guys. You can see them right here just enjoying themselves. I don't think for a moment they doubted the victory.
Not at all.
Not at all.
They were so confident in the second game that they went for the slow style team composition. I'm truly surprised they switched it completely 180 after such a convincing first game win.
That's that swagger that I was talking about. That's just Rival saying, look, we can go fast, we can go slow, whatever you want us to do, we're gonna handle it, no problem. That's just Rival being Rival.
They just are so comfortable with each other. Whenever we were introducing the teams, just passing the sunglasses to one another. You're talking about swag. I'm not sure if it gets more swaglicious than that one. I mean, maybe.
There's a couple adjectives I could think, but I won't do them any disservice. They earned the victory. They earned our respect. There's AJ giving Andy a hug there. Coach Alpha Jackal, such a big part of this squad as well. Collis making his way downtown.
What a play from Rival, honestly. I'm just really excited to see, honestly, the next set as well, but Rival playing in day number 2.
Yeah, I mean, this team is just a team that gets stronger and stronger, not just as the game goes on, but as the weekend goes on. We're going to see a better performance from them tomorrow. I would be very surprised if we didn't. Like I said, this was a team victory, but we'll focus on the jungle. That Odin was a very big part of what allowed Rival to go ahead and earn their victory.
And in game number 1, playing the Ravana, baiting out a lot of cooldowns. It's going into the Odin in game number 2. He was looking to play very aggressively and able to find this early kill onto Jigz and even dodging into danger in that tier 1 mid.
This was kind of fun. fineokay to take advantage of the Crocodile. This was kind of the turning point, I think, for the Sobek. And iceicebaby had a big hand in it, locking in as soon. Listen, did you see how that worked out? As soon as the Bellona ultimate came down, down comes the ring. No chance you're getting out.
No possible way. iceicebaby was just all over the map. Despite the slow start from both iceicebaby and the rest of his team, it's all about the objective control. This blink play from iceicebaby really truly showing the power from this Odin.
There's a little bit of love from the mid laner to iceicebaby himself. I think Iceice just wants to get his stuff, but Wlfy's sitting there like, thanks, buddy. Thanks, buddy. Iceice's kind of proud of himself as well, as he should be. The whole squad has certainly put on a fantastic performance. Nothing but love for the North Americans, but they'll be sitting out tomorrow.
And expecting more out of the playbook from Rival in day number 2. This is nowhere close to the end of even the first chapter for them.
I mean, that's the key here. What you see at a Rival here, this was as traditional as they get. Tomorrow, I mean, don't be surprised if you see, we're talking anything is possible when it comes to Deathwalker and his team, if they need it. But sort of like today, they showed us 2 different sides of the same coin. So I'm very excited to see what goes on tomorrow. And as I talk about him now, let's talk to him. It's Deathwalker and Taco.
Man of the hour, as always, it seems to be lately, whenever Rival's facing up against anybody. And really, what was your initial mindset heading into this game?
My mindset was that I'm better than fineokay and I'm gonna destroy him in lane, which I did. So I didn't lie to myself.
A little bit of a cheeky BM there, but that's kind of just to be expected from these European teams at this stage. And realistically, what was your overall game plan, you guys would say, as far as heading into game number 2 was after such a clean performance in number 1?
We were basically feeling them out game 1, and as we saw, we performed so well that we thought we could play similarly to the same draft as game 1 in game 2 because it worked so well. So we didn't have to pull out any strats that we were planning on for this set.
So you say not pulling out any strats, and I mean, granted, you're not the hunter player for your team, but I gotta know, what is up with the Bluestone Ram?
Bluestone Mace is 30 power level 1, which is pretty ridiculous. So with red buff, it's like 42, I think. At level 2, you would be hitting supports for 80 damage, 90 maybe. The strategy was that Kalas just stands at their red buff, waits for them, doesn't let them do it to make them risk it being stolen, and votes just insta-clearing the way because 30 power Ram.
All right, well, that seems like always a pretty fun time, and I mean, it worked out in the long run, but more importantly, I guess really just congratulations to you guys yet again for having such a dominant performance and making sure that you'll be playing in tomorrow's matches. Do you have any shout-outs you want to give before I let you go?
Shout-outs to Team Rival, the sponsors, my teammates. Shout-outs to my brother for always being with me at these LAN events. And shout-outs to Bibich for gatekeeping ranked.
That was a little bit of an unexpected one right there, but an interesting one to say the least. And more importantly, we have a couple of other Smite action coming on. We're actually going to be seeing Luminosity facing off later on today. But first of all, I'm going to take it to a quick break before we come out with that final set of the day.